Welcome to Tournament in a TeaBreak. I'm Ros Satar and I've got a special guest.
Well, thank you, Ros. Actually, I'm Luca Jacobs. I'm from Germany.
Yeah, we've actually got a real live German here. Do you want to know why that's so significant? Because Angelique Kerber became the first German woman since Steffi Graf, her heroine by the way, to win a Wimbledon title, beating Serena Williams on the way to do it. Why else was this significant? Because Serena was actually aiming to equal Margaret Court's 24 Grand Slams, of which most of them were done when nobody used to go to Australia anyway. So I love the fact that Chrissy Evert always throws that out there. Like 11 of them was when nobody used to go to Australia anyhow.
Well, it's insane, and and then it's like Angie Kerber, canceling all these plans for Serena. Like it felt amazing on the court, to be honest. Like being on center court watching this, it was pretty cool to me.
I mean, let's analyze the match because Kerber came out, didn't look nervous. She admitted to us in press that she was pretty nervous at the start, but she came out very, very focused, blattered her way, broke Serena in the first game. Built up a lead. Serena got herself on the board, actually broke Angie back in the first set, and Kerber's response was to break her twice to take the set. And for me, I thought, okay, this feels like Melbourne, where she came out super aggressive, and I really think caught Serena Williams by surprise. Now, you couldn't say that Williams would be caught by surprise again like this because, of course, Williams beat her in straight sets 2 years ago. Incidentally, the last time that Williams won at Wimbledon. But to be fair, Serena did up her intensity in the second set. I mean, what was your feeling when you were watching the second set? Did you think that it was about to change?
Well, the first thing I thought the first game was like crucial all the time, and I was really surprised that Angie kept it going from the first set, and then Serena kind of had this one body stroke kind of, where I was like,
is that what she almost took Kerber's head off?
Yeah, well, I was like, wow, and even Angie was looking at Serena like, what is going on here? But since that point, I was like, wow, Angie's still really steady, really calm. She was kind of ready. I felt like she was in the mood, like in all the other two Grand Slam, three actually was it, but all the other two Grand Slam finals where she actually won it. And I felt like she was really ready for it. Well,
yeah.
That was a surprise, actually. To be honest, since it's a Wimbledon final and it's against Serena. So, well, I was surprised, but yeah.
I mean, she admitted in the press conference at the semi-final that she would have to play her best tennis. And what had worried me going into that was when we were interviewing Gerges ahead of the semi-final, she was very much, I'm very happy to be here. Obviously, Gerges hadn't won a match at Wimbledon until this year, since 2012.
It's insane.
It was like a ridiculous losing streak. And then she went on a run to, I think, the quarterfinals at Eastbourne.
Yeah.
And we were talking to her there, and she was amazing because she was just so bubbly. But the one thing that worried me was that she was saying it'll be an honour to be on the court with her. And I thought, you see, you've already in your mind accepted that you're going to do that. And I was worried when somebody asked a similar question to Angie after she got into the final. And she said, oh, for me, Serena's always a champion. Okay, that's acceptable. I can believe that. But she said it'll be an honour to be on the court. And I just thought, oh, close, but no cigar. Why did you say that? But when she came out, it was a study in focus. She was... I know that she's been looking to play more aggressively, but against Ostapenko, she was doubly effective because not only was she aggressive when she had the chance, but she was super defensive. And I thought that's what she was going to do today. Well? After that shot where Serena almost took her head off, I thought, okay, she's going to start reverting back to counter-punching. But she didn't. She actually stepped up another gear.
Well, I think it was the break point for 4-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where she hit the forehand down the line, her trademark shot.
Yeah.
But
that was the one
I
on
was
the run.
jumping around, up actually and screaming a lot because it was a trademark shot, and she actually went for it. Like she never looked back. Whether it was for the body shot or whatever it was, like Serena was really kept on fighting and kept on trying to get into the match. But Angie didn't look back. She just went for her shots at the points where she had to.
And also her body language, like we've seen her. I spoke to a colleague. I've got one German colleague in my writing room, and the rest are upstairs. And I spoke to one who said, "Oh my God, she's so stressed when she's training. She looks stressed on the court." But then another colleague, the one in my room, was like, "Yeah, she's nervous in the early rounds that she's expected to win.
Yeah.
Once she gets past those." Because, of course, she was the highest seed left standing after Pliskova bowed out on Manic Monday. She was the highest seed. And she, at that point, that as you say, that calm and that focus suddenly came into gear. And all of a sudden, it was like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. There were no nerves. There were no jitters.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I read an article or an interview with her when she said, like, I really want to try to win Wimbledon this year. And I'm like, wow, I mean, it's a goal, since she loves playing on grass. She actually won Birmingham a couple of years ago. And, well, I think she even went out there today, like, to win, because she beat Serena a couple of years back, and she knows how to play her. And that's, well, I kind of felt like that she was in the mood to do this here again today. And she never looked back. And that's, to be honest, at some points you always have a little minus in feeling again for Angel, because she's always has these kind of like, well, problems with mental stuff. But at the end, well, she never felt you never felt like she can't amaze you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's amazing, and it felt like this too.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had to stop watching Djokovic's press conference because, just to explain what it's like, in the media center we have like a big screen that you can. It's an interactive screen, so you have one big screen with one court, and you can have three smaller courts at the bottom, or interview rooms or whatever. And I could see out of the corner of my eye that the scoreline was clicking up, and I thought, she's going to be done before he stopped talking. So I clicked back literally for that last game. And it was amazing. And the thing that makes me think that she's turned around a corner is she was saying in press, Serena didn't lose this match. I won it. And I thought,
agree on that.
And I think, and I don't even think this is like a return to 2016 Kerber. I think this is a brand new Kerber that we're seeing.
Well, she learned so much. She learned a lot of 2016, but a lot of 2017.
Oh,
actually.
God.
I mean, it was like a really bad year, to be honest. But, well, she rises herself. She rises her personality. She raised her game, actually. And I think Wim Fazet did a lot of work. And he's a really good coach. He's like really encouraging. He's putting in the words, actually. I think Angie's really someone who needs words also, like for encouragement for her game, actually, just to go out there and play her game, because it's a mix of defensive game and also these patches of offensive game, and she can do that. We saw that today.
Well, definitely. I mean, she definitely said, she's made some changes to her team, and that she thanked them for getting to this point. She's super fit, and I think that was the issue. Serena really, up until this point, hadn't come across anybody that was going to be as tough. Georgie gave her a bit of an issue by taking that first set, but anybody who's seen Georgie play, and Serena has seen her play, knows that she cannot sustain that level of consistency throughout an entire match. So when Serena was like super calm and somebody was asking her, is this the new post-mom Serena? She was like, let me just be clear. This is not usual. This doesn't happen. And I'm hoping that it will, but I'm pretty sure that it won't. But I think because she's played Georgie so many times, she knows that Georgie is inconsistent and is going to just make a mess of things, and therefore is going to be easy to pick off at the end. Right at the start, I think within 2 or 3 games, I turned around to a colleague sat next to me, my colleague, but George sat behind me, was like, kind of, this is her toughest competition.
Absolutely.
And I think it showed today. Serena came up against somebody who was a real match for her. So when she says, I can compete, I absolutely believe that she can. I absolutely believe that Serena will get 24 at the US Open. But damn it, watch out for Kerber. Watch out for Halep as well, but watch out for Kerber because she's back.
Well, especially like Halep and Kerber, these matches are physical. Yes. And they're so physical, exhausting. Also for Serena. Well, I can't deny her, like, 23 Grand Slam. She's probably the best we ever saw, whatever. But these matches are physical, and Kerber's shots were really that low today. And even when she went for the forehand down the line or the drop shots, whatever, Serena had to fall for every single point. And I think that's probably she didn't see the whole tournament and to see it in the final, it was a brutal exercise for her, to be honest. And
it was frustrating her absolutely. A lot.
And
today.
you could see we saw that today.
Yeah.
Well, not only the body shot, but in general, we had that at some points when she was screaming her commands, whatever.
Yeah.
She tried to get in there, but Kerber hold against it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, they were the second act today, and we didn't do a podcast yesterday because thanks to Isner and Anderson, Djokovic and Rafael Nadal did not get onto court until gone 8. There was no way they were going to... there was an outside chance that they were going to finish. And then Novak Djokovic took the first set and everybody thought, yay. Then Rafael Nadal levelled and everybody was like, oh, God, that means that there's definitely no way they're going to... Because each set was taking about an hour.
Absolutely.
I got home, I left at 10 and I got home just as the tie-break was starting. And... we were going mental, the two of us, jumping up and down, screaming at the television. So I think overnight it was great. I did worry obviously Nadal levelled up, and then we were into a whole other 5-set thing. And then by this point, you can just imagine how blue the air was turning in the media room because we were just like, the women didn't get on until 4:15. That's 2.25 hours after they were due to come. That's basically the time it took to do a normal women's final.
Yeah.
And they hadn't even gotten to court by that point.
Totally agree on that.
But to be fair, both women were very gracious about it.
Well, I'm curious, like, how they really react to it. I mean, probably Serena's really an open speaking woman, and then she's also really standing over it, she's trying to push her and all the other women. She's never looking back at even at men's, and that's what I always feel she's really inspiring, even to a man, to be honest. And but Novak and Rafa put up a show, to be honest.
It was a more entertaining semi-final for sure.
It was. The where I see it on Center Court, most of the crowd were definitely pro Rafa. That was also really interesting to see, to be honest. The match, it felt like 3 or 4 years ago, when was the Australian Open final? 2012. This epic 6 hours match. It felt like the old days, and that felt especially for Novak, felt like the old days.
Yeah.
And that's how he felt it. He stepped it up at the important points. He served really good, which is still, I find, a little surprised because of his elbow injury or surgery what he had. But in the end, I think he was a little more the deserving winner.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think it'll be interesting though. George and I were discussing it on the way back up. Who is actually going to benefit? Is it going to be Anderson, who's had a day off, or is it going to be Djokovic, who has now played 3 days in a row? But what we came out to the conclusion is that Anderson has played 2 extremely long 5-setters. Whereas Djokovic might have played a 5-hour match, but it was split between 2 days. So if he played his whole 5-hour match today, then absolutely, you'd say that he'd be in trouble.
Absolutely.
But we asked, the ladies were asked about this. Serena was very good in hers and said, I know that if the roles were reversed and they had to have us play before, I'm pretty sure that the men would have to understand that that's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly enough, because Serena was seeded 25th, she got no real preferential treatment. So she was never on at a specific start time. She was always a followed by or a not before.
Oh, yeah.
So for her, this was no different. And also, don't forget that this is no different to what they are like week in, week out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, until they get very deep,
Absolutely,
are not before or followed by.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that difficult. And the same was said for Kerber. She was like, well, it had to be played. There was no other way around it. They had to play before us in order for them to have any chance of recovery. The other issue that people raised was, why didn't they start it even earlier? But my colleague Vicky that you met this evening, she raised a really interesting point. Hi, Vicky. She raised an interesting point that they will have gotten through drug testing and all that kind of malarkey. They would have finished at 12. They would have left here at 12 and probably been back home about 1:32. If we'd have put them on at 1 o'clock, or no, they started at 1, so that was 12 hours.
Yeah.
The most that George and I said was that perhaps they should have started them at 12. But when Vicky explained it, that they probably didn't even get out of Wimbledon by 12, that made sense all of a sudden, that at least they had 12 hours of rest. I mean, Djokovic had sort of said, he didn't really sleep that much. He was here practicing at 10.
Yeah.
So, ultimately we have our men's final. So just to close things out, what do you think is going to happen in the men's final?
Well, it's a tough one. Well, I think we might see like four sets at least. I feel like Kevin will definitely step it up from his last 2 wins. Since he's a really big server, of course we have probably the best return player ever who we've seen on the ATP Tour. But I feel like Kevin learned especially a lot from the US Open last year, where he made it to the first final of a Grand Slam. But in the end, I feel like experience, especially in Wimbledon, will handle it to Novak. He has been stepping it up all the whole tournament, especially today against Rafa, who also stepped it up the whole Wimbledon tournament, where he lost I don't know, second or third round the last couple of 3 or 4 years. But Novak held against it, and I feel like we got to see Novak Djokovic as a Wimbledon champion again.
I think so. I think Anderson will probably get the first set.
Yeah.
I think that adrenaline will probably carry him through.
Yeah.
First final, second Slam final, or first Wimbledon final, second Slam final. He'll feel that he's got the experience to handle that. But then I think, Djokovic will probably start a bit slow. I think the stress. He was very emotional when he won this. I don't know whether they showed you the clip of him having the flash interview.
No, I don't think
so. But
he
was very emotional, close to tears, if not very teary, because of the emotion of having come through that. I think it'll take Djokovic maybe a set to settle, definitely, and then after that, I see him in 4 sets straight down the line.
I agree on that. Probably the first set, since he had 2. Almost today felt like at least 3 sets to me. And it was a tough 3-setter then, especially against Rafa, and he had also again 3 sets yesterday against a tough Rafa. So he probably needs a little more time to getting it started and everything. So I probably feel like it will be a 4-setter, maybe even a 5-setter, but I stick with the 4-setter.
Okay. Yeah. Well, normal service will be resumed, and we'll have Chris Otto back with us for the final wrap. But until then, of course, you've been listening to Ros Satar and
Luca Jacobs.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.